it'll be a very short class, maybe 20 to 25 minutes, because the last part of disk scheduling algorithm is left, and we have covered almost 70 to 75% of the syllabus. So we can go a little bit slow, and we will be focusing on the lab, I mean to say sessions. Okay, so we will finish with this scheduling. I was going through the syllabus, so more or less is okay. And question paper, if you are having, then share it in the official WhatsApp group. So from there I will be accessing it, okay, and I will check like which portions are left accordingly. Okay, but the major role, like places, it's already done, except for I think in numericals I have to do a little bit for memory management, and last unit theories are left, basically, which was also there in CO in second sem. So I will just be giving the notes for those topics with a brief overview. Okay, so with that, I think we will be wrapping up with the theory class by next week. It will be done, and the entire theory syllabus, and then hopefully we will be starting off with lab sessions. Okay, and compiler design, I think sir will be needing classes, no, because till now I think it has not gone. I mean to say much, isn't it? So I guess let me see, like few classes. Then I'll give to sir also, Dipankar sir, for the compiler design classes. Okay, so I will be. I mean to say, one day sir can take, the other day I can take. So that way maybe it'll be much more fruitful, because other syllabus also has to be looked after, isn't it? So that's why I will just speak with him, and then I will update.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let us start with the disk scheduling algorithms which was left. So since today I said that very short class, maybe 15 to 20 minutes only. So let us do a brief overview. FCFS you already know how to tackle, isn't it? In case of disk scheduling algorithm, if you are having data to be accessed from a particular sector, so you have to visit various tracks until and unless you don't locate the track, the desired track, and from that track you don't get the sector. Okay, so in first come first serve we have seen that here the concept is that we will be picking up the tracks which is given based on which one has come first. So how will we know that those track numbers will be given to us? So accordingly we will be coming to know. Okay, so here like in a number line we have the initial frame of reference to start from 0. So here also the position of the read write head will always be given to you. So here it is given to be 50. So accordingly, like it will move to 82, then again 170, like depending upon whatever is there in the question. Okay, in that order it will be moving. Okay, that was first serve, first come first serve. And if you are asked to find what is the you can say total number of track movements, so it is very easy. Like from 50 we are going to 170, isn't it? So it'll be 170 minus 50. Then from 170 we have gone where? We have gone to 43, so it'll be 170 minus 43. Then similarly we have come here, so it'll be 140 minus 43. So in that way we will be finding the you can say in case of first come first serve disk scheduling algorithm. Then in shortest seek time, what we did was we had the track numbers given to us, but how will we move? That was the basic question, isn't it? So what we did was from the point of reference, that means where is my current position of the read write head. So where is the my current position of read write head? 50. So from 50 I will be picking the nearest track number from 50. So from 50, which is the nearest track number? 43. So hence I will go up till 43. Then again at standing at 43, I will check which is the nearest track number available. So 43 is out. Now from 43 in this track number, which is the nearest one? 24, isn't it? So I will go to 24. Then from 24 standing at 24, values which are available. Which are the ones available? 82, 170, 16, 190, 140. So 16 is the nearest from 24. So I will move till 20 to 16. Sorry. Then from 16, once I'm standing at 16, which are the values available? 170, 140, and 190. All are very large values, but 140 is the least compared to these three. So from 16 directly, I have to go to 140. Then again, once I reach 140, I will be left only with two choices now, 170 and 190. So which is the shortest one? 170. So I'll go up to 170. Then finally at 190. So out here, the basic concept is that from the point of reference, when I start, I will look at the track numbers which will be given to me in the question. I will see which is the like having the shortest distance, okay, from that point. Then once I reach to that point again, now from that point I have to see that the given track numbers which is the having the shortest distance. So that kind of I mean to say working principle we have to follow. So how are we going to compute this one? Same thing, from 50 it has moved to the extreme point till how much? 16. So it will be 50 minus 16 plus, then from 16 it has moved to the end point up till how much? It has moved till 190. So it'll be 190 minus 16. So if I compute, that means how many track movements took place? 208. Now, there was a disadvantage. We saw that if suppose we have, let's say, some, like for example, 82 came first, isn't it? 170. The track numbers should have been picked in that order. Okay. Now, for example, if we had, let's say, for example, 170 we had, but 170 came when? In the second last, just before termination, isn't it? But its arrangement was when it should have come in the second. So in certain situations it may so happen that a particular track has to wait to be picked, okay, for a long period of time. So this kind of problem, basically this algorithm basically suffers from the problem of star waiting, okay, because per one particular track has to wait for a longer period of time, which has come much before. Why? Because the reason we follow here is that the track that is to be chosen is from the point that we are at present. So that's why that whole thing becomes little bit I mean to say kind of a waiting time kind of you can say atmosphere.
Okay,
Then next is the yes,
sir,
yes, tell me.
sir, in the equation, like you did
Huh.
190 minus 16, like, but from 16 it went to 82, right? So, like, why aren't we taking that?
Uh,
190
no,
plus
we
16.
have to. Okay, I got your point. See, we are taking the two extreme points. Okay, like for example, 50 is the extreme point here, and here, which is the extreme point, 16.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's why that 50 minus 16. Then from here also, this is the extreme point, and then in between there may be many, but we have to take the extreme ones.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay, sir.
okay. Then next we have is the scan. So again the same concept. We have to move from the core point, but in one direction. That means until and unless we have not finished one particular direction completely, we cannot go back. Like if suppose we are moving to the right, then we have to move to the right only. Once we have picked all the track numbers, we have taken them, then we can move to the other direction. Okay, so that is basically the concept with scan. Okay, so let's say for example, our current position of read write head is 50. So from 50 we will be start 50 will be starting. So let me see that I'll be moving to the right. We can move in either one direction. Either I can start from left and then go to the right, or I have finished first all, then I can go to the left. Okay, so in on the right side of 50, what are the various track numbers that I am having? So I am having 82, then I have 170, then I have 140, and I have 190. Okay, now in this scan algorithm, one thing you have to remember, that I thought up till 170, then from there I have to go to the extreme point. What was the extreme point of the track? The last track which was available was track number 199. So I have to go up till 199. So then only I can come back. That is the, you can say, the working of this algorithm. That is the difference between the other two. Okay, if you compare this with the others, first difference is that it follows one direction. That means until and unless one direction is completely over, it cannot go to the other direction. So that's why it has to finish. So it will choose all the tracks which are on the right side of 50. That means greater than 50. So it'll take 82, it'll take 170, it'll take 140, it will take 190. So it'll go till 190. But one thing you have to remember in scan, that it will not stop at 190. It will not go back from here to the left. What it will do, it will reach to the end point, the last track. So what is the last track here? We already know 199. So from 199 it will start retracing back to the left. So how will it retrace? So how will it retrace? So what are the values which are there on the left? We're having 43. So directly from here there will be 43. Okay. All right. Then after that, what is there? 24 is there. So we come till 24. And at last, what is there? 16 is there. Okay. So how will we find the? Okay, I'll come to you. I'll come to you. So how will we find the total number of track movements? So again, from 50, what is the dead end? This one, right? The extreme point. I should not say dead end. Extreme point. That means the last track number. So it'll be 199 minus 50. Okay, this one. Then again from here till the extreme point. So it stopped till where? 16. So it'll be 199 minus 16. One thing you have to remember, that whichever point you are taking first, that will go up till the end point. That means 199. But for when you are going in the reverse direction, it will end in the last track number, that is 16. It will not go up till. Similarly, if you are starting from the left position first, then this one, it will go up till 0, but it will end on the right till when? Till wherever the track number is there. So that you have to keep in mind. Okay. Okay. So it'll be 190 minus 199 minus 50 plus 199 minus 16. So what is your question? Do we need to make? I think curve is better. And one more thing, the very good question you have pointed out, I appreciate. Uh, like, see, for example, here 82, no? So you put like a circle here, like a black circle kind, no? Small, so that it will mean that this is pointing to 82. Similarly, at 140, so out here you put a circle here, black circle with pencil, and then it will mean that it is 140. So that will give much more clarity. I think curve is much more better, because otherwise, if it's all it's straight, because here we are not actually pointing, you can say, number line, like in case of a graph, isn't it? The straight line is there, the coordinates are there. So here that coordinates are not there. Basically, we are putting the values that we need to show, the track numbers. Okay, that the disk will be locating at every, you can say. Okay. So others, any queries so far? If there's query, you can ask, else we can move forward. So we can move forward, Abhilash. Okay, I think that solved the, I mean to say, question. Okay, okay, good. Now, next that we have is the C scan. Okay, so what happens in C scan? So let us see. So this is again same example only, but here they have given one condition. So this is the condition. Uh, So this is the condition which is given to us. Okay, that means the direction of movement is towards larger value. Larger value means greater than the current, you can say, position of the read write head. Okay, so it should be more than 50. Now, how does this work? Okay, so what is the difference between scan and C scan? In scan, basically in scan, if you see, what happened was it started from 50, it picked up all the positions, it went to the extreme point, and then it retract. But while retracting back, it picked up the track numbers like 43, 24, 16, isn't it? In C scan, it is okay while it is going in one direction. Let's say we are taking to the right, but while it retracts back, it will not pick the track numbers. What it will do first, it will come to the extreme point. What is the extreme point? Zero. Then from zero, it will pick the values. Is it clear? In scan, what was happening? We are picking the track numbers as we are passing by, and we are going to the you can say the last track number, and then we are retracting it back. While retracting, we are picking the track numbers, isn't it, to the left one, whichever were there, and we are stopping at, you can say, 16, but 16 was the last one. Here what we are doing, we are first time it's okay, we are going up till the highest track number, and till here. But while returning back, we are not picking, like in case of scan. What we are doing, first we are going to the first track number, and then basically we are picking the other track numbers. Okay, so let us see. This is the condition which is given to us. So these are the track numbers which is available, 16, 24, and we have plotted it accordingly. Now same concept. So from 50, which one I'll go first? 82. Then which one I'll go? 140, then 170, then 190. So in that way I will be, okay, T82, 140, 190. Okay, then similar to like scan, what I will do be doing is I will be going to the extreme point. That means the last track number. So what is my last track? 199. Done. After this point, I will be going to the extreme point of my first track. So what is my first track? My first track is what? Zero. So I will be going directly to zero. I will not pick anything while going back. I'll be not be picking anything while going back, so I'll be going to zero. Then from zero, I will be picking the values. So what are the values I'll be picking? So from here, I can see I can pick 16, I can pick 24, I can pick 43. So accordingly, I'll be picking here. I'll be picking 16. I'll be picking 43. So how will I find the total number of track movements? It's similar only. First, from 50, you see the extreme point of the track number, it's 199. So it's 199 minus 50. Then again, from 199, what is the extreme point? It is 0. So it'll be 199 minus 0. Then from 0, what is the extreme point? 50. So it'll be, oh, sorry, 43. So it'll be 43 minus 0. So if I calculate, then I get how much? 391. So this is how basically the C scan works. Any question? Anyone, any queries? You can post it up, or is it clear? If it's clear, you write it, then I can go ahead. Okay, so we will go to the next one. I think that's the last one. So next is the look. Okay, so look is simple to implement. So what happens here is like we pick again. It goes in a one directional. If we have started with right, we'll go towards right. But in the other cases like scan and C scan, we are taking the last track number also, isn't it? In scan and C scan, 199. But here we will not be taking 199. We will stop till where basically the track number is there. So what is the last track number as per this one? It's 190. So we will be picking 82. We'll be picking 140 and 190. So at this point, at 190, what we will do is at 190. What this is? Yeah. At 190, I'll be basically retracing it back. So while retracing it back, what I will do, I will pick now the values again. So what are the values left from 190? What are the values left? It's 43, 24, 16. So when I'm coming back, I'll take 43, I'll take 24 and 16. So if someone asks me to calculate to give me the total number of track movements, very easily I can calculate again. 50, 190 minus 50 plus again 190 minus 16. So if I compute, that means this much of track movements was required by using the look algorithm. Okay. So this is basically your scheduling algorithms. And one more topic is there, that is unmounting. So unmounting is quite easy. I'll just read out because it's very theoretical. So basically, it happens with a disk. Okay, so whenever you must be knowing mount, unmount, row. So from the name itself, unmounting means what? We are making a disk unavailable. Okay, for the time being. So, in order for a particular hard disk to be unmounted, it must be mounted first, because you cannot unmount something which is not available, isn't it? So, when a disk is mounted, it is active. We can make use of it. The computer can access whatever is there in the hard disk. Okay, but since unmounting a disk, what happens is it prevents the computer from accessing whatever data or information is there. Okay, however, there is no risk that the disk will be disconnected in the middle of the any kind of data transfer. Okay, so therefore, before removing an external device like USB, okay, the disk should be first unmounted first, and then you have to take it out. Okay, so as to avoid any kind of data inconsistency. Okay, so you can do this with various kinds of devices like external hard drives, USB flash, iPods, okay, and others. Okay, so how do we do that? I think you already know. You go to My Computer, select the disk, then click on the eject this disk or eject this pen drive option, okay, in this sidebar. And in other operating systems like Macintosh or something like that, basically you can follow these kind of instructions that is being written. Okay, so that it will safely disconnect the disk from the system. Okay, so this is asked basically for 5 marks. So that has been put it up. Okay, so almost you can say 75% of the syllabus is covered, the theory part. What I will do is the question papers, if you can, put it up in the official group. I think it was put it up long time back, but if someone can do that again, because the I like some data got corrupted. Okay, from my phone, so I'm unable to access the other information, okay, today morning. So that's why please put it up in the official group, and check here like which are the questions which are still yet to be done. Because theory, I think very less is left. I mean to say, only theoretical part is there, and memory management, few numericals. So just check and let me know tomorrow in the class, so that that will be helpful. So OS now, after this, I'll be giving certain assignments because I've finished almost the syllabus, 75%, you can say. So then I think it'll be very, very helpful. So I'll be giving these notes. Okay. Study material. All right. So I think that completes the session for today. It was very short.